So Dwayne, this is not the, we're not separating it, wholesale discussion? If you turn all the computers off in the office, would that help?
I don't know.
or the televisions.
I don't know why this is not working.
On the live chat, it just
It says connection is excellent. All right. What's this over here? All right. Testing. Live. Test. Mic check. Audio test. All right. Let's see. Zoom. It says low bit rate. But I can't do anything about that right now.
it looks clear on my end. It's readable.
All right, well, guess we'll just go with this for now.
Okay. A bit of a rough start, but I think we're good now. All right, welcome everyone to open discussion and various topics. First one of the year. Happy 2024. Today we will finish up class 2 transcript. I was trying to improve a bit our live stream experience, but ran into some issues. So I'm just going to default back to using Zoom for now. And hopefully over the next upcoming weeks, I'll figure out what went wrong, work out all the kinks, and we should have the stream up and running for you guys with an improved experience over the next coming months. Last time, I believe we left off finishing up reviewing the Mystic Constitution of Man PowerPoint presentation. It was a 3-part presentation, and I believe I completed all 3 parts and went over that to give a background information so that when we continued with the Metaphysics 101 class, reviewing class review of the Metaphysics 101 series, hopefully it'll fill in some of the gaps and connect some of the dots from that lecture series. And that particular series I'm referring to, if I can go back there. All right, well, before I do that, let's open up with prayer for spiritual workers. Prayer for spiritual workers. Almighty God, I bless all those who, because of their limitations, would smite me. Almighty God, I bless all those who, because of their weakness, would not heed me. Almighty God, I bless all those who, because of their ignorance, would defile you through me. And I ask, Almighty God, O wondrous power, that your strength may be given to me now, so that I might be fortified by this, so that I might go forward bravely into the world, and despite reception, send forth my love of thee throughout all races of man. Almighty God, give me the power and strength to rise above my karmic weakness, the deficiencies in the pattern of my evolution, so that I might evolve and become stronger, I, and even stronger, in thy everlasting light. O God, thy will be done. Okay. All right. Once again, welcome everyone. Open discussion and various topics. As I mentioned earlier, what we are doing is finishing up our review of class 2, the Mystic Constitution of Man, well, Metaphysics 101 series, which is the Mystic Constitution of Man. As a reminder, you can look on our YouTube channel and under playlists, you'll find a series of lectures that were given in the past. And we're currently, over the past couple of open discussion sessions, we've been looking at the Metaphysics 101 series. It's 2 videos. We finished class 1. I'm only doing the first 15 to 30 minutes of lectures of each class, writing the transcript for it, and then using the same notes that were given at the time, as well as updating the notes with material that's been created since those classes were originally produced. Today, we're going to finish up with the first 15, about 16 minutes of class 2. And then from there, we'll move into the 21 lessons series. In this 21 lesson series, I'll look for the original handout where basically Nehemiah broke down his entire lexicon of teachings into 21 foundational lessons. So that if you go through all of those 21, you'll have all those 21 lessons, you'll have a solid foundation in metaphysics, mysticism, and the yogic teachings. So we're going to go through this playlist. And there's also a couple of other classes too that we included in this playlist just to give a well-rounded foundation in metaphysics. As usual, I'll announce beforehand which classes I'll cover in this review. I will only do the first 15 to 30 minutes, depending on how long the lecture is, the nature of the materials being presented. I'll make a transcript of the first 15, 30 minutes, and then I'll bring it back to a subsequent open discussion to talk about the material, to cover the notes and handouts that were given, and to include updated notes and diagrams and illustrations to use with that material. And then we'll also, if you have any questions or comments, we'll field those questions and I'll try my best to answer those for you. Additionally, it's still an open discussion format, so any questions or comments you may have, feel free to ask them in the chat and we'll go over those for you or answer those for you. So after today, we'll finish up with the Metaphysics 101, and then we'll move into the 21 lessons series. Now, not all of the videos you can kind of see here. Class 1 is not here. Class 3 is not here. Either some of the classes are made private. And so if you want to see those particular classes, you can send us an email. And if approved, they'll grant you access to those classes, or just a limitation of the technology we had at the time. Either I was not able to record, or the record got lost, or the stream got lost when I transferred over from Ustream to YouTube. But there's more than enough material here to cover, most of the questions or comments we would have from the 21 lessons. We also included here an introductory Ayurveda lecture that was given by a former student, Desiree. Again, that too is limitation technology. The class cuts off after hour 34, and it's because I ran out of tape. And there are other lectures here too, mystic knowledge of the chakras of Kundalini, psychic and spiritual development. So there's a lot here that we're going to go through. I'm going to jump around through these lectures. But again, I'll let you know beforehand which ones I'll cover. Okay. So are there any questions or comments before we jump into today's material? Today's class will be a short class because I still have a couple of bugs and kinks to work out, and I'm getting some error messages on my end as well. So I won't go the full 2 hours today. Okay. I'll give you guys a time to gather and type out any questions you have. One question we received via email, and you're free to email us questions and comments also. There's a question about pranayama. The person asks, I never sweat with pranayama. Should I? I do the breathing routine of 6 exercises devised by Dr. George King and breathe very slowly.
You don't necessarily have to sweat in order to, when you're doing pranayama. It depends on where you are. It depends on the type of techniques you're using. There's multiple techniques in pranayama. And sometimes you sweat, sometimes you don't. And it depends on, the main factor is depending on what type of technique you're doing and what type of prana that's prevalent at the time too as well. There's 5 major pranas that we inhale. So I mean he would have to ask more specific questions and then tell us exactly what pranayama techniques he's using.
Are there any other questions, comments? If not, then let's move into today's material. Can everyone see the transcript and the notes accompanying it?
I can see it on my end.
YouTube is telling me the stream keeps dropping.
I haven't seen it drop.
Okay, well, we'll just keep going. So this is the transcript for class 2. And we left off at the 7 minute and 19 seconds mark. So if you follow along in the video, this is where we'll pick up. So on the left here, we have the transcript, and on the right, we have the actual diagrams that were used at the time when this lecture was originally given. And since I didn't want to have to jump back and forth, I want to keep them here up at the same time. And by using this program, I can try to make some notes and annotations as we go along. But I am by no means an artist, so please forgive the poor illustrations. All right, so previously we had talked about, let me scroll up, in class 1, Nehemiah went over this first page. And we talked about the Shakti power falling down. So I'm here at number 1. The Shakti power falls down from the crown to the base chakra through the Brahmic line of force. And you can see here the arrow is pointing down to this Brahmic line here. It's going down the center. Erase that. And then number 2, once the Shakti power falls down to the base chakra, that's here, it goes into a dormant state by moving into a 3.5 energy configuration called Kundalini that blocks the passageway to Sushumna. Now, what is Sushumna? It is that Brahmic line of force. So this red or burgundy line here, this is Sushumna. And it pushes that energy down. And once it reaches the base, as mentioned here, it enters a 3.5 knot configuration. And then that energy configuration is called Kundalini. Or sorry, the energy, the Shakti power is pushed down. And when it comes down to the base of the spine, it enters that 3.5 knot configuration, and it expresses the Kundalini. This places the Shakti power into a flux state that brings about a division of this power. Number 3. The division of the Shakti power brings about the manifestation of Pingala and Ida flow of Shakti. The vital energy flow is the Pingala flow, which is the dynamic, positive aspect of Shakti. And here we see Pingala represented in red, and you see it crisscrosses up, intersecting through the centers. The passive energy flow is the Ida flow, which is the mental, passive, negative aspect of Shakti power. And that Ida is presented here, left-hand side, in the blue, and it intersects and goes up the opposite flow of Pingala, all the way up, terminating, both energies terminate at the Christ. The power of Shakti found its level of equilibrium after falling or manifesting itself from the Shiva power. This equilibrium brings self-consciousness to man. And number 5, the Christ chakra, up here, is where the spinal column is terminated. It's also where the 3 nadic energy flows called Ida, Pingala, and Sushumna nadis terminates and merge back as one consciousness. It's the second equilibrium level along the spinal column. The Bindu energy expressed here is the highest level of static Shakti power being expressed along the spinal column. Number 4. Oh, sorry, I went backwards. Sorry, number 4 and then number 5. The Pingala positive and Ida energy flow moves from the base chakra towards upwards, seeking to unite as one energy. Since the passageway to Sushumna is closed or blocked by the 3.5 energy configuration called Kundalini, the Pingala and Ida moves towards every chakra, crisscrossing through each one of the chakras along the spine, trying to enter into Sushumna, terminating its forward movement at the Christ chakra, the equilibrium point of the Pingala and Ida flow of energy that manifests consciousness on the gross physical level. Okay. And so now we will pick up at the etheric body. Previously in the lecture, we had covered these 4 vehicles of expression, and then we're moving now towards the etheric body. Now, from this etheric body, the soul uses the etheric body to manufacture the other mental bodies, which is the subconscious mind and the conscious mind. Now, the subconscious mind and the conscious mind actually came from the supra-conscious mind. I don't think he illustrates that here, no. All right, now we're only going to deal with the superconscious mind. But the superconscious mind manufactures the subconscious mind and conscious mind in order to make the lower chakras, in order to help formulate the lower chakras. The lower chakras being the chakras underneath the heart chakras. Right? So that's the solar plexus, the sex chakra, and the Muladhara. Sorry. And the Muladhara chakra. or the base of the spine chakra. So these are the major points of the makeup of man. As you see in the diagram, the upper chakras make up the etheric realms. So here we have the higher etheric realms. The lower chakras make up the three basic general astral realms. It's these three here. And then below, you have the seven lower astral realms, which of course we know in some places they call that hell or the hells. So it's not illustrated here. In another diagram is actually showing the centers in the legs and the feet, and those make up the seven lower astral realms. Do you have any questions or comments so far before I continue on? No? Okay. So let's keep going. All right. So here we have the conscious mind, subconscious mind, and the superconscious mind. Now, because of this, the superconscious mind becomes the background for all the other chakras. And therefore, the etheric body has a configuration and all those and all those other chakras too. But in order to operate on the level of those chakras, an energy formation is brought about, and from that energy formation of the five pranas would be the astral body is formed, which is the lower subtle body that operates on the lower chakras. The chakras is from the solar plexus center down. And of course, it's made from the formation of the lower chakras that are stated here. And then you can have the manifestation of a physical body, which is the gross physical body made from the gross material of creation. Okay, it's quite a lot there. Now let me see if I can pull up something really quick on the pranas. Let's see, I'm not finding it really quickly here.
Which one are you looking for?
I had it queued up, but I lost it. It was it showed the pranas in the body, and
The old diagram or the new one?
I think it was an older one. No, it might have been a newer one. Let's use this one. Brief look at the chakra system and the flow of prana. Quick. So anybody can see that. That might be hard to read, so let me just zoom in. Okay, and that's too much. So this is a diagram that looks at the chakra system and briefly the flow of prana. This is actually in the Google Drive shared folder. So you can download this and take a look at it and read along or just study it and come back with any questions. But what I wanted to emphasize here, since we just talked about in that last paragraph of dialogue from the 101 class 2, a lot was covered, right? We talked about the conscious mind, subconscious mind, superconscious mind, the superconscious mind being the background for the chakras, and the etheric body having the configuration of all that energy. And then how it also takes those 5 major pranas in the lecture. Again, it was a 101 lecture, and I was trying to cover a lot of information in what, an hour and a half, class 1, and then maybe an hour, class 2. So there's a bit that he of the detail that was skipped over, but is covered in subsequent topical classes. Specifically, we talks about the pranas and the bhutas and so forth. And so when he mentioned in the lecture that in order to operate on the level of those chakras, an energy formation is brought about, and from that energy formation of the 5 pranas, so those 5 pranas being apana, etheric solids, vyana, etheric liquid, samana, etheric light, prana, etheric air, and udana, etheric sound. Now you'll notice that in the lecture, we're talking about the etheric body, and in each of these pranas, they're referred to as the etheric element. So as we look here on the right-hand side, we look at the major flow patterns of the 5 major pranas or subtle energies. And we'll start with, I think my picture's in the way, so you guys can't see the illustration. Udana, as in the dark blue. And you see that here, let me switch to point of view. That's this formation that is subtle energy flow that travels through the head, arms, and legs. And that, in other words, it moves through the extremities, the head region, the arms, as you kind of see here, the blue, dark blue line moving through the arms, and the leg region. So Udana moves the head, arms, and the legs. Then we have prana in this green color, is the flow of energy that travels down from the heart chakra towards the base, and then back up to the heart chakra. So you'll see here the flow in green, the flow of prana energies. It flows down to the heart. Actually, from the heart down and then back up. Samana, this subtle energy operates from the solar plexus, a conjunction point of all the pranas. So you see here in the yellow, we have the Samana, located here in the solar plexus region. Vyana, a flow of energies that travels from the sex chakra throughout the entire body. So you'll see here Vyana in this, I don't know, what do you call this color, Nehemiah?
Mhm.
Like a dark orange or something? I don't know what color this is.
Yeah, it's an orange.
Orange.
It's an orange color, yeah.
You see it flowing throughout the entire body. Here in the sex center, then distributing out throughout the entire body. And then you have Apana in red, the flow of Apana energies that travels from the base spine up to the heart center. So it's going from there, from the red, from the base up to the heart center, and back down to the base. So prana and apana, prana goes from the down to the heart, and then back up, and then apana flows from the heart down to from the base up to the heart, and then back down. These two energies in I guess I want to say in normal operation do not mix or intermingle, but as part of spiritual development and advancement, the goal is to get those two energies to travel together as one energy up and down from the base up into the head and back down. So it is, as said in the not transmission, in the lecture, the formation of the five pranas would be, that's when the astral body is formed, which is a lower subtle body that operates on the lower chakras. The chakras from the solar plexus center downwards. That's not here. Let's go back to the script. So these are the major points of the makeup of man. As you see in the diagram, the upper chakras make the etheric realms and lower chakras make the basic general realms. Now, all of these vehicles of expression, I'm here. All these vehicles of expression are manufactured from the subtle auric substance and mind substance, and in fact, including the physical body. The physical body represents the grossest form of that mental configuration of all the other bodies. And in some books and some teachings, they call it the wasteland. The physical and astral realms are actually called the wasteland, and it's where basic life forms. And I underline that to emphasize the point of what the physical body represents and why identifying oneself with the physical body as only a physical body is, such a fallacy. So this is the makeup of man. And let me tell you one of the reasons why this information is important. Okay. This is something I want to highlight. Actually, this entire paragraph here was something I want to highlight and spend some time, if I could get this to work properly. something I wanted to highlight and spend some time on. So this is important. So this document tells you, and let me tell you one of the reasons why information is important. In fact, this is all metaphysics. And one of the reasons why this information is very important to understand is that from here, it brings about your ability to discriminate. All right? Without proper discrimination, you will not learn and you will not move forward. And I really want to emphasize that point because, nowadays relativism seems to be most important. But when it comes to these teachings and advancements, and it's a very clear, he's stated here, and it's a point that Nehemiah has never backed off from in the years that I've been studying under him. And as you meet more teachers along the metaphysical path, it is a sticking point for them as well, particularly, for example, like Dr. George King. In fact, he has an entire lecture on discrimination. So it's very, very important to understand the facts and knowledge and understanding behind this, because without it, you won't learn. You will open your mind to any and everything, whether it makes sense or it doesn't make sense. There is a definite science behind the yogi metaphysical teachings and the occult metaphysical teachings. And it's not that everything is accepted. Almost everything is possible, but everything is not acceptable, and everything is only possible under the right conditions. So by understanding and studying the makeup of man, you begin to understand the tremendous laws of karma and discrimination so that you can progress and learn. So when someone comes and speaks to you about raising Kundalini in 3 days, you will know how idiotic that is. If someone comes to tell you you can develop clairvoyant powers overnight, you understand how idiotic that is unless that person is an adept or a master. Again, almost everything is possible, but everything is not acceptable. And everything is only possible under the right conditions. So it builds a level of discrimination, and then you understand the science behind it. And that's why this becomes so important. So a lot of times I've heard people, question and say, why does Nehemiah spend so much time on the missing constitution of man, missing constitution of man, this missing constitution of that, book after book, article after article, notes after notes. And this is why. This is the reasoning and the logic behind the entire teaching methodology of the International Missing Law Center. And everything that Nehemiah produces, you'll see, ties back to this foundational principle. All of metaphysics ties back to our mystic constitution. And it is understanding that which allows us to take full control of all the energy that is made available to us. But that's the reason why we're here. So when we emphasize, studying, reading the teachings, reading them again, going over it several times, and then begin to study to digest this information, because it is that important. And it's so important that, as they might emphasize this here, by understanding and studying the makeup of man, you begin to understand the tremendous laws of karma. And what is karma? Pressure towards conformity. So that you can progress, develop, and learn. Was there anything you want to add, Nehemiah?
No, I mean, I think it's clear. It's like we was talking about was that yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why the uh the great masters they describe them as sitting still and only moving when necessary
Mm-hmm.
because of their vast awareness, and they understand every movement, affects thousands, maybe millions of light streams.
Mm-hmm.
And they only do that because of their level of consciousness. So because everything is driven by the law of karma. The law of karma is the law of action. So, and in order to make any movement, you manipulate energy, and that energy has to fall on one side or the other, which is a very highly positive energy or negative energy. So it's understanding and knowledge and discrimination that helps you to determine your future movements or your present and future movements, because you want to move under the law of karma. And that's what the whole buildup of higher consciousness is to work within the confined laws of karma so that you can help all life progress. And, unfortunately, that's the way it is in our selfish conscious mind.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Is that we are, as many books say, ye are gods. And the only way you become a god is by worrying or dealing with everyone, not just yourself. Because you realize that everyone is a part of you.
Right.
So that's why, yoga is about union with God. And that's why all the teachings fall back, it's talking about the mystic constitution of man. Even the difficult, hard to understand book, Serpent Power, is all about the mystic constitution of man.
Mm-hmm.
So every book is about that.
Let's You just mentioned serpent power, and this you actually go into that next in the lecture. So moving on, at 14 minutes, is if you study the serpent power, where's my pen? By Arthur Avalon, which is one of the best books written on Tantra yoga, and Tantra yoga means, and what Tantra yoga means, Tantra itself means to loom. So to loom the yogi sciences together, because in Tantra yoga, you have Raja yoga, Bhakti yoga, Mantra yoga, Kundalini yoga, Nani yoga. You have all the yogas. And next time, I still going to finish this today, but next time I'll go into this more. So I think I'll actually stop after this paragraph because I want to kind of do like a follow-up, and I'll show you guys where you can actually find these teachings or some of the authors that are recommended here at the end of this lecture on our website. And then I want to go into showing, excuse me, there's a couple of diagrams that Nima put together that talks about how or illustrates how all the yogas come together into a single unified system of spiritual development. It's actually a diagram talking about Tantra yoga and showing how it pulls together all of the yogas together. Like here, Raja, Bhakti, Mantra, Kundalini, Nani. You have all the yogas, you have Laya yoga, Agni yoga, all the yogas are in Tantra. It's one of the best books written meaning Arthur Avalon's book, Serpent Power. And Dr. George King, even said the Serpent Power book, or recommended the Serpent Power book. Dr. George King said the Serpent Power book is a book with more information and knowledge in it than the secret doctrines of Madame Blavatsky. And if you study the Serpent Power book, you would notice that it is a book detailing, the book specifically talking about the makeup of mankind and the subtle makeup of man's bodies. In fact, Nehemiah did a series on serpent power. It's actually one of our most popular series. So if you, again, on the playlist, this is a series he did on serpent power. I know, about 18, maybe more than 18 classes, because some of them are private. There's an entire series here on serpent power. Now, after I finish the 21 lessons, no, on second thought, on request, if there's enough interest in us covering this series, again, this is one of our most popular series on our channel, covering the serpent power text. If we get enough emails about it, enough people requesting it, then I will cover it as well, where I'll go through several of the videos, transcribe the lecture, and we'll try to, study this text and the lectures given on the text by Nehemiah. And maybe if I think there may have been some updates in the materials that Nehemiah used when doing this series in the past. And so I'll try and collect those, put them together. That'll be a big project. The Serpent Power is still a text I'm working through, trying to understand. But we do have 18, maybe 20 videos of lectures on Serpent Power, going chapter by chapter, with illustrations, Nehemiah taking it and putting it into plain English for us. So I would recommend, again, this is on one of the most popular series. So if you guys want to do a revisit of this series in a similar fashion to what we're doing now, with covering a transcript and updated lecture material and asking additional questions on it, let us know. And if there's enough interest, I guess I'll find the time to cover it, I guess. If you, do you see anything in mind? That I heard something.
No, I didn't say anything.
Okay. Let's come back over here. If you study a basic metaphysical book, which is very popular as well, called the 14 Lessons. That's what it talks about. And what is the 14 lessons? So if you go to mysticknowledge.org, our website, and under the ebook library, Yogi Ramacharaka. Let me make sure. Let me not guide you guys correctly.
Is there?
Yeah, it's there. I just want to make sure I have the exact page for you guys to go to. It is ebook library -1. Is it? No. Yes, it is. William Walker Atkinson. That's his actual name. Yogi Ramacharaka is his pen name. Let me hop over there. So mysticknowledge.org, ebook library -1, Yogi Ramacharaka / William Walker Atkinson. You have the 14 lessons in yogi philosophy. That's what it's talking about here. Also have Serpent Power here in PDF format by Arthur Avalon, and even Helena Blavatsky's many of her texts here, and Annie Besant. There's a lot of resources here. We do have a lecture series on the 14 lessons, an introduction to the 14 lessons that was given by Mr. Bernard Johnson, one of the senior students. I think that's in the 21 lessons series. He's one of our guest lecturers, and I think he actually did a PowerPoint presentation and went into a bit into the 14 lessons. I think I have that PowerPoint presentation somewhere. So if there's interest in that, we can revisit the 14 lessons lecture that was given more than 10 years ago, maybe 12 years ago. But the text is here, 14 lessons. It's here for you to download, as well as several other texts by Yogi Ramacharaka. Actually, Yogi Ramacharaka's text is what I'm going to be working through in the study sessions. So that's, again, when I find the time to do it, that's another, it's coming up as well. And then here is the Serpent Power. If you study in advanced cosmic treatings, it's easy to read. You're not going to understand it that well. It will take you many years to understand, just like the Serpent Power. It takes about 20, 30 years to begin to understand. Now, and there's another advanced treatise, which in my references is called the Nine Freedoms, and it also talks about the makeup of mankind. It covers the same thing. And the Nine Freedoms is a text published by the Theory Society, and it is a body of works channeled by Dr. George King. And it really, like I mentioned here, it talks about the mystic makeup as well as our evolutionary path through our time here on this earth and beyond. So all metaphysics leans towards this, because until you get this right, you will not understand the greater metaphysical sciences. Where's my mouse? There we go. So that's why the mystic makeup of mankind is very, very important. Or like some people like to call it, the mystic constitution of man. It's very, very important. So until you understand these points, you will not understand the physics. And as Dr. George King says, we have to go through physics to metaphysics. And in our situation, we have to go through the mystic constitution of man to the higher expressions or the higher spheres. So this brings about the correct level of discrimination. And I had stopped here in the transcript because I thought this was a very poignant point to stop in our review of class 2. And then from here, we will move into the 21 lessons. And where we go after the 21 lessons, I may move us into, let's say, I might cover some Tantra, the Tantra Yoga series. Or if there's some special requests for us to cover something else, like the Serpent Power series, or additional series we have here covered. We have here in the playlist catalog. Up over there. And if there's anything in our video library that or a particular subject you would like us to specifically cover in a future lecture, you're more than welcome to email those suggestions or recommendations to us, requests to us. But from here, I want to go into the 21 lessons, cover several videos in that playlist. And if there's enough interest to go into the serpent power, before jumping into the serpent power, I may cover the Tantra Yoga series. I think there's a Tantra Yoga series here. Yeah, a look at the systems of Leia and Tantra Yoga. And I think there's specifically a series here when it covers Tantra Yoga. So I may do those first as a primer before jumping into the serpent power and maybe even the 14 lessons as well. So whatever you guys like to see next, let us know. And that will determine what material I cover after 21 lessons. But in the meantime, do take a look at the 21 lessons playlist. I'll go back and organize this. I'm realizing now it's not in correct sequence. But I'll do that this week. But do take a look at the series. There's, as listed here, 44 videos, and each video is at least an hour long, so about 44 to almost 80 hours of content here for you to review, to study, to play in the background as you're doing other things. And any questions, any comments you have about the material covered in this series, do write them down and bring them to our attention. I'll try to cover them for you. But in this playlist, there's a lot of stuff. There's stuff here on Ayurveda. And as I mentioned earlier, Man, His Many Bodies, the Seven Principles of Man. This was a lecture series given 12 years ago by Bernard Johnson, covering the same material as the 14 lessons. All right. So do we have any questions or comments or anything you want to add, Nehemiah, before we close out today's session?
No, I don't have anything there.
So my homework for this week is to try and figure out work out the bugs for this live stream format. And I'll edit that playlist to put it in order. The 21 lessons, and I'll also start transcribing the video. Or some people like to volunteer and help out with the transcriptions. That'll be great. I found that transcribing these lectures has been a real boost and benefit in my own study understanding of the material. Because I'm forced to listen intently to every single word, to type out every single word. So I have to go back and listen to it again and again and again. And there is a lot of information I missed. This is 10, 15, maybe not 15, 11, 12 years ago. I was behind the camera recording and operating the stream. So there's a lot of information that I missed. But then going over it again and again and again, listening to it again and again, there's a lot of subtle nuance that I missed the first time. After 10 years of study and some practice, I'm able to hear and pull out a lot more information from these lectures than the first couple of times I went through it. So even if it's just for your own benefit, I would recommend sitting down and intently listening to lectures, stopping everything else you're doing, maybe taking an hour or two out on a weekend, or maybe an hour a day, and just listening to these lectures over and actually trying to write it down, maybe with pen and paper or pencil and paper, or type it out. And it really forces you to listen to and digest every single word. Yes, it takes a bit of time, maybe an hour lecture. Well, for example, this 15 minutes of 16 minutes of dialogue. It took me over an hour to type out because I had to keep listening to the same line of sentence over and over and over again. But just in those 16 minutes, I was able to pull out 16 minutes of dialogue, so to pull out so much information. And I have it here written down so I can pick it up, read it, reference it as much as I want going into the future. So I'd recommend that as a practice and exercise as well. In fact, one of that comes to mind, there is a series, Mystic Practices, that Nehemiah did. And I know I'm going to mess this up, but in one of the practices, the knowledge and use of the mystic practices, one of the practices that Nehemiah gave us is to help us develop our concentration. It's kind of like a brainstorming practice. I'm not going to mess up Nehemiah, so you can help me out with it, where he has us, try and focus our mind onto a single topic and write down everything that comes to mind on that subject, be it I don't know, real estate, be it skydiving, anything you're interested in, just try to focus your mind on that one topic, and whatever thoughts or ideas that pop up from your mind, you just write them down and keep writing and keep writing and keep writing as a way to help develop concentration. That's close to what you mentioned? I remember it was something similar to that. I don't remember the exact practice. Was that any?
Yeah, that's one of them, but once you write it all down, you got to organize it.
Right. After that.
You have to organize it, and then you go back into it over and over and over, and you'll realize that new information began to come to you.
Right.
And a greater insight to that particular thing comes to you as well. Another thing you notice when you do that is that you begin to attract people who have information. They'll just out of the blue begin to come to you and talk to you about stuff, or call you up on the phone and talk to you about it. And everyone who's connected to you with that particular knowledge will seek you out, because it's like you threw up a light saying, bring all the knowledge on this subject to me.
Mm-hmm. All right, so there you go. And that's a free practice for you. And my kind of modification I was using as I was transcribing the lecture, that helped me out a lot too, because I was focusing on what Nehemiah was saying, and I was focusing on typing it down to listen to it over and over and over again. And it really helped me to, it's a light concentration practice, writing down and transcribing this information, and then going back and studying it or reviewing it again and again, saying, oh, I can add this here. And even now, as I'm reviewing the transcript, things come to mind as as we're reviewing the lecture. So I would invite you guys to maybe adopt a similar type of practice. Is another way to make use of these teachings and lectures and videos that Nehemiah has provided with us. All right, so if there's no more questions or comments, let us close out today's session reciting the New Lord's Prayer. Oops. Oh, no, I don't want to end. No. Share. There we go. Control L. Let us recite the New Lord's Prayer. O divine and wondrous Spirit, O everlasting Lord of hosts, send forth now through me thy great and lasting power. Allow me, Almighty God, the lasting privilege of radiating to all the world thy great love, so that those who suffer may be given the power and energy to rise above their weaknesses. Almighty God, in great humility do I ask you to send forth your power to give to me this great lasting privilege of being a channel, so that my suffering brothers may be helped and guided and healed and lifted into thy light, so that they who know not may look up, and in doing so receive to their higher selves your divine counsel. Almighty God, this day have you granted me a divine privilege. I ask you now to give to me the strength, so that never again will I turn from my inner vision of you. Oh, great peace, great peace, great peace. In praise of your greatness, O God, doth my soul sing. Grant it energy to sing on forever and forever. All right. Let me figure out where I am here. Thank you very much, everyone, for your kind attendance and participation. My whatchamacallit is not working. Wait. All right, there we go. All right, thank you very much, everyone, for your attendance and your participation. Again, do remember to review the 21 lessons series, because that's what we'll be moving into next, covering the transcripts for, well, we'll start with class 1. So I'm announcing that now, and then we may do class 2, 3. I'm going to review the videos, see the material that's covered, but I'll try to cover most of explicitly the 21 lessons series, and then I'll cover some additional classes that were given by guest lecturers. I mean, there's even a class there on spiritual healing. So review the material, take down any questions or comments you have, bring them back to us, and hopefully we'll stimulate some engaging conversation and discussion on the material. And then from there, we will cover something either by request from you guys, depending on if you want us to go into Serpent Power, 21 lessons, or 14 lessons, or something else. We'll see from there. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time. Take care.